You know, when an entire empire is just falling to pieces, you get chaos. But sometimes, out of that chaos, you get legends. This is the story of three guys from totally different walks of life who met in a tavern and ended up changing history forever. So it really makes you wonder, right? When everything is collapsing, what forges a true leader? Is it just raw ambition? Is it ruthless power? Or is it maybe something else entirely? The answer? Well, it's at the heart of one of the greatest stories ever told. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're talking late 2nd century China. The Han Dynasty, which has been around for 400 years, is literally crumbling. The government is corrupt, people are starving, and a massive rebellion known as the Yellow Turbans has just thrown the whole country into turmoil. It's a total power vacuum, and you've got all these ambitious warlords scrambling to fill it. And look, this wasn't just some political mess, it was a complete breakdown of society. People were desperate. They were looking for anyone, absolutely anyone, who could bring back some sense of order. This chaos, it was the perfect storm for a new kind of hero to rise up. And right into the middle of all of this, step 3, men. And these guys could not be more different. We're not talking about established generals or nobles here. No, they were drawn together by something much bigger than status, a shared dream of saving the nation. So, who are these three? Well, first you've got Liu Bei. He's technically a descendant of the royal family, but he's so poor he makes a living weaving and selling straw sandals. But he has this quiet, powerful ambition about him. Then there's Guan Yu, a warrior on the run from the law but fiercely loyal and an absolute master of combat. And rounding out the trio is Zhang Fei, a fiery-tempered butcher who owns a bit of land and just cannot stand injustice. A scholar, a warrior, and a brawler. An unlikely trio, to say the least. So they get to talking, and they realize they all want the same thing. So they go to Zhang Fei's peach garden, and what happens next? This isn't just some business deal. It's the moment that becomes the emotional heart of their entire story. It's something way, way deeper. This line, it just says it all, doesn't it? It captures the incredible weight of their promise. They swear an oath, not just to each other, but to the heavens, that they're in this together. They'll live as one, they'll fight as one, and if they have to, they will die as one. It's an unbreakable vow that's going to guide every single thing they do from here on out. And you've got to understand, their pact wasn't about a power grab. Their mission was crystal clear: serve the country, protect the innocent, and live by a code of honor. This whole idea of leading through loyalty was completely different from the selfish, power-hungry warlords they were up against. But, you know, an oath is just words until it gets tested. And their test came almost right away. They put together a small fighting force, and it was out there, on the battlefield, that their legend really started to be written. So here's the scene. In one of their first big tests, the brothers join a coalition of warlords. But the whole army is getting absolutely stonewalled by one enemy champion, a guy named Hua Sheng, who seems unbeatable. While all these powerful warlords are freaking out, Guan Yu, a total unknown at the time, just steps up. The leader of the coalition, a guy named Cao Cao, offers him some warm wine, for courage. Guan Yu's response is just legendary. A few moments later, the clashing of weapons stops. Guan Yu rides back, throws the enemy champion's head on the ground, and casually picks up his cup. The wine? It's still warm. All those powerful warlords who had just written him off as a nobody, they were completely stunned. That single act, that one fight, put these brothers on the map. But, of course, an even bigger test was just around the corner. The enemy unleashes their ultimate weapon, the warrior Liu Bei. This guy was seen as a force of nature, maybe the single greatest fighter in all of China. Nobody, and I mean nobody, could beat him one-on-one. And this is where you see their oath in action. First, the hot-headed Zhang Fei just charges right in, and he actually holds his own against Liu Bei. Then, seeing his brother needs help, Guan Yu jumps into the fight. But even with two of them, they're barely holding on. So finally, Liu Bei, their leader, draws his sword and makes it 3-on-1. Faced with these three brothers fighting like a single being, Liu Bei, the unbeatable warrior, does something no one had ever seen him do before. He retreats. It was proof that their bond was stronger than any one man's power. So their skill in battle was, undeniable. But what really set them apart wasn't just how they fought, it was why they fought. And this brings us to Liu Bei's whole philosophy of leadership, which was totally revolutionary for such a brutal, violent time. Just look at this contrast. On one side, you've got the standard warlord playbook, right? Rule by fear. Betray anyone to get ahead. Might makes right. That was the norm. But Liu Bei's code was completely different. He led with kindness, he put loyalty above everything, and he truly believed his right to rule came from the support of the people. I mean, while other warlords were burning down villages, you had entire towns of civilians packing up and following Liu Bei because they saw him as their protector. So, how in the world did they survive, let alone thrive? Well, it all comes down to this model of leadership. Their loyalty to each other was absolute. That oath was their constitution. They had a shared vision that was about more than just grabbing land. Liu Bei's decency and kindness acted like a magnet, drawing in talented people who were sick of all the brutal tyrants. And their resilience was just off the charts. They were beaten again and again, lost territory, lost battles, but they never, ever lost their principles. And they never lost each other. And that really brings us full circle, back to that first question. The story of this brotherhood, born in a simple garden and forged in the fires of war, it really forces us to ask what the true foundation of leadership is. Is it just the ruthless pursuit of absolute power? Or is it the kind of strength you can only find in loyalty, in virtue, and in those unbreakable human bonds? It's definitely something worth thinking about.